Oh, sorry. Good evening, everybody. Very excited for you to come in. We have a lot of students pouring into the rooms right now, so I want to make sure that we give a little bit of time for people to join in. This is the workshop on workshops, if that's the right place that you were trying to go to, the right link. But my name is Chair McGee. I'm the Director of Student Life here at the Kelley School of Business, and we are excited to have all the workshops represented here at this webinar. And this webinar is designed to give you a lot of information at the forefront, and then for you to interact with the workshops following the event. So we're hoping everything goes smoothly. As you know, technology is one thing, and we had some last minute changes, but hopefully we got all the slides right and everything like that. So let me just dive right into this, get this started so you can hear from the experts themselves, because there is a lot of perception on workshops and what they are and what they do that we want to talk from a high level. Like, I'm obviously not a workshop director. I don't work with any of the particular workshops. And so from a 1,000-foot view, and I encourage you, if you have any questions, there's a Q&A at the bottom. You can throw questions in there. We have even someone from advising here that can answer some of your questions about some stuff, but also the panelists themselves can answer questions. So what are workshops? You hear about them a lot, especially if you're a first-year student. Right when you get to campus, you meet students in workshops. They might talk about it. You might hear about particular workshops over and over, but workshops are, at its purest form, they're an academic and career-focused group, a program that are ran out of our academic departments. They're industry-specific knowledge. They are very tied into their industries. There is coursework tied to it, as well as the ability to do trips, to network with companies that work with the workshops that want to recruit students that are in that particular industry. If you want to read about them and all that type of stuff, like, you're going to get an overview today, but go to the Kelley Workshop website, which has been updated. Googling Kelley Workshops, which hopefully you figured that out by now. The best way to find something on Kelley's website is by Googling it. So Google Kelley Workshops and you'll find it. So how many different workshops? This is surprising to some people. A lot of people think there's only like 3 or 4, or there's 5 of them. Not as many as there are, but there's actually 13. We added 2 new workshops this year, which added a department as well. And so we're at 13 workshops, and each one of them have representation here tonight. So we're really excited for that. They are very different. They are not the same. So it's important to ask the right questions to the right workshop to figure out which one actually fits for you. Some recruit first-year students, some sophomores, and then there's some even focused on juniors and seniors. Okay, so it is important to understand what's your timeline here and making sure that you understand the Kelley workshops. So how many workshops can you be a part of? Right now, just 1, and you need to choose based on your interest and make sure that you are wanting to chase that. So doing the research, coming tonight, is a great step in that direction, but most of these workshops host call-out meetings. They do different things to make sure that you can experience the workshops and find out more information, but also talking to your academic advisor, and if you are interested in the workshop and how that works in your plan and all the stuff that's required, because they have that academic coursework component. So how competitive? That's one thing that, we had 300 people sign up for this workshop tonight, and of course, with all the call-out meetings and classes, it's less than that here, but that means there's a lot of interest in the workshops. And so we get that question a lot: how competitive? It depends on each workshop. More applicants sometimes have different admissions criteria. The size of the workshop, those type of things vary from workshop to workshop. Overall, it is competitive. Like, we're not going to hide behind the fact that it is a challenge to get into these workshops, because there are specific ones that students really want to get into. So that's why it's important to find out this information and why it fits. Okay, so I want to hit this. Getting into a workshop is not the end-all be-all of your Kelley experience. There are many different paths at Kelley. So if you don't get in a job or get into a workshop, it's okay. We still have 95% employment. And as you can see, only less than 7% of people are in workshops at the Kelley population, and we have 95%. So it isn't end-all be-all, but they are industry specific. They are ones that you are wanting to find out about, and we completely understand that. So what are the Kelley Workshops? Well, here's the master list, but we're going to go through this in alphabetical order. Apologize for the dog barking in the background. And they're going to give a brief overview. But I encourage you at the end, you're going to be invited to their Zoom rooms. Go talk to them specifically. I'm going to stop talking so my dog stops barking in the background. But the business operations and consulting is going to be the first one up. I lied. Business analytics consulting is the first one up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carrie Johnson. I'm one of the directors of the Business Analytics Consulting Workshop, and I believe I'm joined by Eric McDermott on here somewhere. It's a long list of participants.
Yes, I'm here as well. Is someone on the slides that can click to the next one? Great. So I'll start with the classes and kind of give an overview and get an idea. There's sort of different sets of information that I want to convey to juniors and seniors versus freshmen and sophomores. So this is, as it mentions towards the end there, it says it's primarily for juniors and seniors. But the thing that we want to lay out for the freshmen and sophomores is to be thinking about your course plan, and we think that this will be a wonderful fit eventually for juniors, with a bit of a preference for juniors. But right now, it's definitely very much open to both, and it always will be. But anyway, so here are the courses. We list them as required, but since this is a brand new workshop, these are something there we realize not everyone may have completed by this point. So there's the ODT courses and the BEP courses. ODT, these are typically going to be classes in order to get into are going to be co-majors for BEP and ODT. And then to finish the co-major, you need the 15 hours, those 12 hours, and then this could be the last 3 hours to complete that. And I think that's most for me. And so I'll let Carrie take over from here.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, so excuse me, now I have a dog barking in the background. So the Business Analytics Consulting Workshop is brand new. This will be our first semester of recruiting, and we'll start in the spring. It'll be a 3 credit hour course that you'll take. And as Eric mentioned, it can be your elective from the Business Analytics co-major. But the goal of the course that you'll take, and it's really 2 course numbers, 1.5 credit hours each, but they'll be given simultaneously. You'll take it as a 16-week course or 15-week course. The goal there is for you to do project-based work and do analytical consulting projects sponsored by some of our corporate partners. And we've got companies that are interested in offering projects to our students from companies like Salesforce, Procter & Gamble, Deloitte, and there are several others that we're looking at. We haven't lined up those projects definitively yet, but each team of students will address a corporate project and work on a real project that will run the semester long. You'll have mentors from those companies that are kind of guiding you through that project and to answer your questions, and you'll create a deliverable that you'll give at the end. Our goal is to give you an integrative view. Because our co-major splits 2 departments, you're learning the techniques and the analysis tools from the ODT side, and you're learning kind of the theory behind it and the patterns in the econ side. This is going to give you that integrative view of applying all of those techniques and the economic modeling and econometrics to really solve a comprehensive business problem. And there's also going to be lots of networking involved. We think it's going to be a great opportunity, like Eric mentioned, ultimately for juniors who haven't secured their job yet. This is kind of like a great internship within your school year to showcase the work that you're capable of. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity. We look forward to talking to you in our Zoom room with more details on that.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Tyler Kozub. I'm a senior from Long Grove, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago, and I'm studying supply chain management and sustainable business. Tonight, I'm here representing the Business Operations Consulting Workshop. I would like to say that we're a consulting workshop with a supply chain problem. Our workshop is divided into 2 8-week classes. The first, which will usually occur in your sophomore fall, is taught by Professor Katie Votolato, and she will dive into just some higher level supply chain issues. And the second 8-week class is run by Carl Briggs. This course focuses more on the consulting side, and we do activities such as case interviews. My personal favorite part about the BOC is the community feel that we create. We utilize a family mentorship program, so past and current members can really get to know each other outside of the workshop and the classroom. In previous times, when we weren't talking to each other through our computers, Carl would host barbecues in which he'd make his famous pulled pork, and we'd really get a chance to connect outside the classroom as students. But speaking of connecting, the best part about our workshop is that Carl and Katie both bring in members of their personal networks to talk to us about real supply chain or consulting issues. We get to research not only the firms these individuals represent, but the stories that they're going to tell. When I say that joining the BOC had a positive impact on my life, not only in Kelley on campus, but also in the workforce, I truly mean it, because there's not a day I don't go through thinking about a problem in a more complex mindset due to these two courses. Sorry about that. On the left, we have a QR code for the BOC workshop that we were so kindly created for last year. And on the right, we have just an interest form. We don't actually recruit until the spring. We're looking for freshmen and sophomores, as you do need 2 years to complete our workshop. And the interest form will just help you guys, help us know who you are, and hopefully we can reach out to you with more details. Obviously, we would love to see you guys come through our Zoom link after this. And I would just like to take a second to say I commend all of you guys for being here, because walking into a room as freshmen, sophomores, it is amazing that you're here, and it's honestly probably a little bit scary to be talked to from a room full of individuals. So just congrats on being here, and I hope to see you guys later.
Hello, my name is Ian Walker, and I'm representing the Capital Markets and Banking Workshop. Our workshop is relatively new. Our first recruiting cycle happened last year, which is the class that I went through. You've probably heard a lot about our sister organization, which is the Investment Banking Workshop, but we do differ in different sorts of ways. Our CMBW is focused more on non-mergers and acquisitions roles in the investment bank, and as well as in corporate banking. And capital markets is related to things that happen at an investment bank that aren't directly tied to an M&A deal. These are things like issuing stock for people through IPOs, which you may have heard about in cases like Beyond Meat recently, or providing debt to companies and people to be able to maintain their operations. And corporate banking is somewhat similar, however, it is more so on the debt side of things. These are people who facilitate lines of credit and commercial paper, as well as transaction services for companies. And a great example of this is Fifth Third's Bank actually just provided $200 million to the Lakers. And you can just imagine the type of conversations that happen between the analysts there and people on the Lakers team. So you do get a lot of client exposure. You'll be able to satisfy the needs of a lot of different sorts of companies and figure out what type of solutions can be best provided for them. And admittance into our workshop is very similar to the investment banking workshop. It is by invitation only. You start off by taking 255, which is called Careers in Finance, during your freshman year. While this is not required, it's strongly recommended for a workshop, as this helps you understand what capital markets is, as opposed to M&A or other sorts of fields in finance. You must sit for F355 in the fall of your sophomore year, which doubles as your application to our workshop. A strong candidate will have a 3.4 or higher GPA, and a strong intellectual aptitude, social skills, and a desire to pursue non-M&A type of roles after graduation. And if you're inducted into the workshop, members will be able to take F428 and 429 classes, which put you in front of recruiters, upperclassmen, and alumni to help you develop more of your skills. All of this information and more can be found on our website page on the Kelley Connect website.
Okay, so here we have the Charles Schwab Wealth Management Workshop. I am the director. Got a couple of the student leaders on deck that will say a few words in a moment about the admission process. But this workshop was created with the help of Charles Schwab donation because of the tremendous demand for young qualified financial planners who represent our diverse society. the traditional financial planner is usually older, not very diverse, and the companies, not just Charles Schwab, they're very eager to try to get a more representative group, and also a group that will be in it for the long haul. So they're actively trying to train younger people to enter the industry right out of college. We're a little unique. We have a very large series of courses that you take, a few more than any of the other workshops. We'll get to that in a minute. And so you commit to taking these courses over your junior and senior year. Actually, you can take one of them during I-Corps, and the rest you would take after I-Corps, and we'll get to those in a moment. But also, if you're admitted, you are welcome to attend all the meetings that we have with industry, people from the industry, as well as alum who are in the industry and who come to speak about their experiences. So you can see my name down there at the bottom. You'll also see it in a subsequent slide. So if we go to the next page, you'll see the series of courses that you take. We are part of what's called a CFP board registered program, and that has a specific meaning in that you take these courses and that qualifies you to take the CFP exam. So you can't just walk in and take the CFP exam. It's like the accounting CPA exam. You have to have a series of courses before you take it. And the same thing with the CFP. We offer those courses, and they have been approved by the organization which oversees this particular designation. So you see, of course, one of the main courses would be a personal finance, financial planning course. And you see that's Finance 365, which you would generally take in the spring of your junior year, as well as 369, which is largely an insurance class. And then you have Business 420, which is a class that almost anybody takes in finance. It's your general investments course. So it's not really, it was not created for the workshop. It's been here a while. There's a couple options for completing the accounting. If you come to our website or our Zoom room after this, we can give you a little more detail on that. But you see at the bottom there, there's a law course taught by a very good professor, Professor Angie Raymond. I hear great reviews for her. Then there's a tax course. Well, it's the accounting course. We've got a really good person on board with that. And then finally, there's the Wealth Management Workshop capstone course, which is mainly a case studies course where everything's brought together, and you would take that in the spring of your senior year. So you would be going through this in the last 2 years of your study. As I said, the law course you can take with your I-Corps, and that would get you a little ahead of the game because you won't have to cram these in there. It is possible to spend a semester abroad if ever we can start doing that again, but that makes it, of course, a little more tight for you. So finally, we've got some representatives here. If you go to the next slide, you can see Danny Leuenberger and Austin Wodacher here. Another great person we have working with us is Lee. He is not here right now, but another contact, you may know him. Danny, you want to say a few words about the recruiting process?
Yes. So for we recruit in the fall of your sophomore year, and there's an application at first that we're going to open up in a few weeks, and then you just fill that out, and then we will have interviews after we go through the first round of those applications. We'll have interviews around before Thanksgiving, and then we'll let everyone know that got in before Christmas break. And we can go on about I guess how we recruit early on for like freshmen and everything in the the breakout rooms later. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, great. All right, thanks for chiming in, Danny. We'll hopefully see a lot of you in a little while.
All right, hi everybody. I'm Matt Morales. I'm co-president of the Commercial Real Estate Workshop. So basically, the workshop is split into 2 semesters, first 8 weeks of each semester, and it's a case-based class. So we have real alumni bring us live deals, or not necessarily live, but recently completed deals that they've worked on different areas of real estate. So generally, you'll get a case each Thursday of the workshop. You'll work on it with a case team over the weekend, and then you'll present to an alumni guest speaker that following Tuesday. So it kind of goes over a lot of different areas of real estate. I know a lot of people come into Kelley thinking, oh, real estate's just selling houses or whatever, but it's absolutely not the case. It focuses on financial modeling a lot, development. We have speakers that specialize in market analysis, leasing, private equity. So you really get a well-rounded view of the real estate, environment. We can go on to the next slide. So to apply to the workshop, generally you need to be involved in the club. So there's a real estate club and there's a case comp also involved with that club. So you need to complete that case comp, and your performance in that will be in consideration when we're, interviewing members. And then we usually open up applications spring of your sophomore year is when you're encouraged to apply. We did actually let in our first freshman this year though, so maybe that could be a continuing trend. But we also encourage you to take R305. So that's Intro to Real Estate Analysis. And I think it's the only real estate class you can take before I-course. So you really get a good, preview of what the real estate major is like in that class. Also in the workshop, we do a lot of firm visits and events, obviously it's different this year, but generally last year, after each presentation, after each Tuesday with a guest speaker, we would ask them questions and then go out to Nick's with them and drink and, network. Also, it was different this year, but we usually do a Chicago trip where we bring the whole workshop class up to Chicago and visit 10 or so top firms up there. So hopefully that can come back to normal next year. And I think that's about all I have.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian, and somewhere else in this call is Brogan, and we're both seniors in the consulting workshop. And you can see here, this is a picture from our Chicago trip, the senior class, I guess, last year. If you click to the next slide. Thank you so much. So the consulting workshop really falls into two main classes, J420 and X404. One, the first 8 weeks of your junior year. The second one, the first 8 weeks of your fall senior year, I believe it should be. And the first one really goes into how to be a great consultant. And the second one is how to get hired at a great consulting firm. And to do that, we really focus on networking a lot within the firm. So we have a lot of networking meetings with firms, and they specifically are meeting with just CW members. And like a lot of other workshops, we have a Chicago trip. We visit 15 of the top consulting firms in Chicago. And then I just listed a couple firms that people are going to full time and interned currently in the past. And Brogan can pick up anything that I missed.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Brian. So our application is in the spring of your sophomore year. We only take sophomores, and each year we take up to 30 members. So typically the process is pretty short. We look for a resume, essay, your transcript, and then you'll have 2 rounds of interviews. You don't need a 4.0 to apply. We like anyone who's interested in consulting. We're just looking for structured, critical thinkers that really want to work on a team and be creative and innovative in their future career. Awesome. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm John Hill. I'm co-director of the Digital Logistics and Transportation Workshop. This is our second year of the workshop. So last fall, we recruited our first class. They completed P257 last spring, which focuses on digital innovations in logistics and transportation. And then they're currently taking P357 this semester, which really is a course about how to manage different functions within the transportation industry. Our workshop is sponsored by the Kelley Transportation Executive Board. We've got about 30 members on the board from various companies in transportation and retail companies that have their own transportation networks, and leasing companies that deal with leasing trucks and rail cars and that sort of thing. So we're looking for finance majors, marketing majors, operations majors, analytics majors across the board. The board that started this workshop has made it very clear it goes well beyond operations in terms of the focus of this workshop. We have one event coming up this fall to kick off our next round of recruiting on the next slide. And this is our case competition. We did our first case competition last year. The board is generously putting up the cash prize money. And this is our initial introduction to the workshop for sophomores and freshmen if they wish to participate as well. So it's not required to participate in the case competition, but those that participate, of course, have a preferred spot when it comes to interviewing. And we'll be interviewing in the next month or so for the next round in the workshop. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Chris Ragland. I'm a senior from Chattanooga, Tennessee, studying professional sales and marketing. And I'm excited to talk to you about the Global Sales Workshop tonight. So why the GSW? Really, our mission is to provide the highest caliber of sales professionals to our world-class corporate partners. You know, I think it's really in our motto where you can kind of see that, and it's our product is our people. I like to think of it this way. We're really focused on providing, you know, our members with the soft skills needed, not just for entry-level positions, but to be the next sales leaders of tomorrow, whether that's an account manager, a national sales manager, or anything that involves sales. I had a conversation with one of our members tonight, and she's like, you got to get it past these kids that we're not just used car salesmen. At a top 10 business school like Kelley, we're really focused on business to business sales, which is all about consulting with different corporations on how your products can create value for them. So if you would go to the next slide, Trent. So just above, you can see 15 or so of our corporate partners. They're from a broad range of industries, ranging from big to small, public to private, from software as a service to selling steel. We really do have it all. I think one of the best things about the workshop, it really gives you a broad view of what industry you could be in sales. And so that kind of breaks it up into like 3 main aspects for the workshop. Our first aspect is experiential learning. We're really focused on bringing our corporate partners into our meetings, which are every Tuesday night, and they'll run through a topic. I mean, next week we're having companies like 3M and Altria coming in and talk about building rapport online, especially during a pandemic where they've had to adjust being outside sales companies. The next big point is our networking. So we really focus on networking with these corporate partners and building these relationships starting as sophomore year for the whole 3 years you were a part of our professional organization, as well as learning from these corporate partners and their personal experiences. And lastly are our sales competitions. So we have 3 or 4 mock sales competitions throughout the year. You get the case at the beginning of the week, and you get to do a mock sale with different corporate partner buyers where you actually get in there, build rapport, ask great questions to uncover their needs, and then kind of work with them to build a presentation to kind of create value through your product. You know, we're recruiting sophomores this fall. We'd love to see you in our Zoom info session to talk more. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Like I said earlier, I applaud you, and I'm looking forward to seeing y'all.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Baumhover, and I'm one of the co-presidents of the Investment Banking Workshop class of 2022. The mission of the Investment Banking Workshop is to create a platform for high potential students to launch into accelerated careers within the financial services industry. One of our main areas of focus will be in mergers and acquisitions or restructurings. And if you're not familiar with what that means, and a popular example in the news recently would be that Microsoft is looking to buy TikTok. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, please come to our breakout meeting a little bit later. Next slide, please. So when thinking about joining the IBW, I think it's important to note that it's more than just a class. It's going to be your primary commitment during your time here on campus. And so what that means is, you know, always carrying yourself with a high level of professionalism, and when attending any workshop events, being in business casual or better. What we seek for the workshop is someone who's going to represent us well and represent Kelley well, and really display our motto of being happy, humble, and kind. And you're going to apply during your fall of your sophomore year, and the application process is constructed in order to mirror what a typical recruiting process would be to get a job within the industry. And while we think placement is relevant, what is really important is being really committed to the workshop and helping out your peers and being a member not only during your time at IU, but beyond IU as well, and being able to give back to the workshop and help with students who are trying to network and place into the industry long after your time at IU is over. So while we think placement is important, it's really about being a committed workshop member overall. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Janki. I am one of the co-presidents of the Investment Management Workshop. On this page, you can see our student leadership from this year. Our contact information is listed on this slide, but we will also be in the breakout rooms if you want to ask us any specific individual questions. So with the investment management specifically, we are a program or organization that tries to place students that are interested in the investment management industry. So these are the four main career paths or tracks that we focus on: equity research, sales and trading, private wealth management, and asset management. Equity research is where you become an expert in a specific industry, you publish reports, and you share your buy, hold, or sell rating on specific stocks or like that specific industry. Sales and trading is the division of the bank that's responsible for buying and selling securities on behalf of institutional clients. Private wealth management and asset management are where you advise high net worth individuals on how to allocate their money or their portfolios. And asset management is the same as private wealth management, except your clients are institutional. So if we could go to, So an overview of the workshop is that it is an 8-week class with the co-president and Professor Ken Weekly. And there are other supplementary sessions that are led by the leadership team. We have New York and Chicago trips to visit alumni. And we have different speaker series, alumni super days, a lot of mock interviews and mentorship program and extensive networking to help every student kind of reach their full potential and, place in the best way place at the firm that they really want to. We have our call-out meeting coming up next week. We have a more built out recruitment timeline in our breakout room PowerPoint. So if you're interested, please come to the breakout room or feel free to reach out to any of us via email. If you didn't catch our email, you can go onto the investment management website through Google, and all of our contact information is on there.
Hello, everyone. I'm Maggie, and I am the lead ambassador for the retail workshop. If you are interested in exploring either the industry and the different opportunities that it offers, this program is for you. In the words of Professor Talbot, who teaches this course, everything is retail. We are looking for rising sophomores and juniors who will apply in February. And we are open to all majors. Our top 3 are marketing, finance, and supply chain, and we cover all areas of the retail industry. But what I really want to highlight is our course. It is completely case-based, and every week you will gain unparalleled access to a different retailing company by either speaking with recruiters and previous alumni. They present you with a problem and they want to hear your answers about how to make their business better. And this is how Professor Talbot teaches you the ins and outs of the retail industry, and you can also find careers that you're interested in. These are just some of our partners. Abercrombie will be in tomorrow to work with our students, and we also hold an exclusive networking event right before the marketing career fair to make sure that you have the best access to recruiters and executives from more than 12 retailing companies. If you have any interest, definitely apply. And I am incredibly thankful for this experience. I can leave the workshop with many contacts and better networking skills and experiences. We were able to go to New York the past few weeks where we visited with Gap, Macy's, and Ralph Lauren. And although we can't do this year, we have even more companies coming in to talk to our students because they want to hear their perspective. And we look forward to meeting all of you and seeing your applications.
Hi, everybody. I am Professor Nathaniel Groh. I am the director of the other of the 2 brand new workshops here at Kelley, the Sports Industry Workshop. We actually just publicly announced it today. So if you're curious, you can go online and Google it. And there's a press release and some media that covers a little bit more. But in general, as it says here, there's 2 main goals for the program for the workshop. First is going to be to introduce students to the latest issues and trends in the U.S. sports industry. We take a broad view of the sports industry here. So there's obviously professional sports, the NBA, NFL, etc. There's intercollegiate athletics, obviously with the NCAA and college athletics, but there's also sports apparel and equipment manufacturers and companies, Nike, Adidas, etc. There's merchandising companies that are dealing with trademark licenses and whatnot. There's sports media, ESPN, Fox Sports. So we take a broad view of all of that and try to introduce you all to different sectors, different facets of the sports industry. At the same time as the second bullet notes, we're also trying to focus on career development and help you develop your network. We're supported by an industry board that's got 25 leading companies or organizations in the field. So talking about things like Rock Nation, Fox Sports, Philadelphia Flyers, the Dallas Mavericks, Chicago Bulls, Jordan Brand at Nike, etc. Leading professionals at the highest levels of the industry, all of whom are super motivated to work with the students in this program, come in as guest speakers, and really get to know the kids that are admitted to the workshop. So in terms of the application timeline, we primarily focus on students in their junior year of study. So the current application period opens during your sophomore spring semester, probably in January when you are of your sophomore year. And then if you are admitted, currently we take about 20, it might grow up to 25 to 30 in the next couple of years. You would be expected to take 2 classes your junior year of study, one in the fall, one in the spring. They're both semester long classes. Fall semester class just got started last Friday. They meet once a week on Fridays. It's super guest heavy or super guest speaker heavy. So every week we have a guest speaker come in to talk about a different aspect of the sports industry, whether it's ticket sales, whether it's player representation, whether it's stadium management, arena management. And then the spring, we'll have some more guest speakers, but also do a series of projects consulting projects, hopefully with some of our affiliated organizations to let you do some work for these teams or these entities and be able to talk about that in future interviews. The one thing I'll just note is, given that timing, there is a conflict with people who want to study abroad. So if you are super motivated to work in the sports industry and this is something that you are really passionate about, just be mindful of that we need you here on campus your full junior year for the program. And so if you want to study abroad, you need to try to figure out a way to work that in around the sports industry workshop if this is something that you want to do. But I look forward to talking to many of you more in the breakout room.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joshua Dennis, and I'm very glad that you're here with us, and I'll try to keep this brief because I think I'm the last. I am the co-director of the Technology Consulting Workshop, and the name really says it all. You've probably heard about various types of consulting, but if you're interested in technology consulting, this is the workshop for you. It consists of I'm not sure what you're saying, Trent.
That wasn't you. Keep going. Sorry, just checking in with everybody else.
Gotcha. So for this workshop, you'll take 2 courses, one in your junior year and one in your senior year. Both of those occur in the fall semesters. And while some of the other workshops do a lot of traveling, we actually bring the recruiters here. And one of the things that's kind of a keystone event of the workshop is that we have an exclusive career fair just for the Technology Consulting Workshop. There are currently 40 members. We recently enlarged it because the demand was so great, not only to get into the workshop, but also the demand from employers for our graduates. And this is our most recent class. And as you can see, very strong placement. Typically 100%. And most of our students will go into Big 4 type consulting firms, but we've also seen people going into corporate positions, as well as working with software companies directly, and also getting into startups. Next slide, please. The application process, you will apply in the spring of your sophomore year, typically after spring break. We work closely with a program called TCARP. You may not have heard of that. That's the Technology Consulting Awareness Readiness Program, and it's actually produced by Deloitte and EY. It's kind of a boot camp introduction to technology consulting. While it's not an official part of the workshop, we coordinate with them very closely. And if you're interested in technology consulting, I highly recommend the TCARP. Entrance is competitive. To be competitive, you typically need a GPA of 3.7 or greater. What's most important is that you show a strong interest in technology consulting, specifically technology consulting. That's what we're looking for. And while it is not requisite, you would find that the vast majority of our members will have a major or a minor or a co-major in either information systems, digital technology management, business analytics, possibly from informatics in addition to a Kelley major. And we've even had some students who are computer science minors and majors in addition to a Kelley major. Tonight we have two of our great senior student members here with us. So if you're interested in the Technology Consulting Workshop, please join us and you can ask questions of me as well as some current members. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all the workshops. We really appreciate it. Right now for the workshop facilitators, or the ones that presented, if you need to go to your Zoom room, this is the time to leave and go to your Zoom room because I'm about to give all of our students the URL for their Zoom stuff. So students, if you've done this before, Kelley Carnival, all this stuff, you're going to get a QR code on the next page to go visit these workshop rooms. I will tell you that there's triple digits of you, so filling it all out at the same time, there might be a delay, but I will be in the Zoom room to answer any questions, and if you don't have a QR code. So here's the QR code. Take a picture of it, fill out the form, submit it. The email should go to your email inbox, and that will then allow you to go into all of these Zoom rooms. The passwords, if there is required, is at the top of the room. If you don't have a QR code, your phone's dead, whatever, you can jump into the chat box. So those are options for you, and I can give that to you, or the Q&A portion, sorry, not the chat box. But other than that, we appreciate you all coming today. I'm going to stop recording.